Hi everyone, a very good evening. So in yesterday class we learned about CSS color property. We see how hex color code works on HTML and how RGB color work while using the code. Let me show you the UI as well. Okay, it's fine now. So in today class we are going to learn about CSS backgrounds. So the CSS background property are used to add background effects for elements. We have 6 background property and that are a background color. Then we have a background image, background repeat property we have, background attachment, background position and background shorthand property we have. No need to worry about that. You don't have to learn 6 property. Once you see the implementation of that, so that it's easy for you to grab all those 6 property easily. So let's start first what we have background color property. Let's suppose this is a background, the whole page is our background and we have 3 boxes, one for hex color, then we have a RGB color box, then we have a name color box, and above we have a heading welcome to the world of colors. And what I want to add background color to those all elements. So for that what we can do, we have a body tag and inside body tag we are using these all things. So what I am going to do here, inside body only I am going to add background color. So it's so simple. And here I want to give my background color as light blue. Okay, let me save this file. Now you can see the background color property specifies the background color of all whole web page. So background color of a page is set like this. And if you want to set particular element, for example, we have a H1 tag, welcome to the world of colors, and you want to set background to that heading. So for that, what you can do in the same way, you come in the H1 section and inside H1, you can add your CSS as a background color. You can give color, any color you want to give, so you can give from here only. Let me save this. Now you can get the color of H1 as well. So in this way you can add background color property. Now for example, if you have, instead of H1, if you have a div section and if you have another p tag and you want to add particular background to particular element, for that you have to choose particular element. Inside particular element you have to write CSS property as a background color and you can easily add it. Now after that, one more thing I want to explain you about opacity that we call transparency. So the opacity property specifies the transparency of an element. So its value start from 0.0 to -1.0. The lower value, the more transparent. I will show you how it works. For example, here we have a background color aqua and I want to give some opacity, some transparency. So for that, what can I do? I just write opacity and inside opacity, I just give value 0.3. Let me save. Now you can see the difference. The transparency level become lower. So in this way, you can give opacity to any particular element. Now, yesterday class we learned about RGB. RGB is a combo of red, green, blue color, as you can see here. And inside RGB, I want to give some opacity, some transparency here. For that, what can I do? I can use RGB. After B, I can use A. So A stand for opacity, how much opacity you want to give. And here you can add like 0.3 only. Let me save. So in this way, you can add opacity to RGBA color also. So an RGBA color value is specified with red, green, blue, and A is added that we call alpha. So the alpha parameter is a number between 0.0 that is fully transparent. When you give 0.0, let me show you as well. So now you are not able to see the color of that box. You are getting the background color, not the color of that box. It become totally transparent. So when you add 1.0, now you can see you get the full color that you added. So in this way, you can add alpha that we call opaque hue and make it transparent as you want. Inside any particular element, you can add opacity. It's up to you. If you want to make it little less transparent, so for that you can use opacity. After opacity, okay, after opacity, we learn about CSS background color property. So what we are doing inside background color, so we give background color of an element and set the background, what color we want to give. Then next, what we have CSS background image. When we learn how can we add background colors to any particular element or a whole page, that we know. Now after it, what we have to learn? We have to learn CSS background image. Like how can we add image to a background? So for that, what I'm going to use after background color, I want to give some background image. Instead of background color, I need some image to image inside image behind my web page. For example, these all are the element already in my web page, and I want to put some image in backside of my background. So for that, what can I do? I can use background image. Okay, the background image property specifies an image to use as the background of an element. By default, the image is repeated. Like, let me show you. Let me copy some image. Okay. Here you have to copy image address. After copying image address, what you have to write here? You have to write a URL and give parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, you have to use the string. Then you have to paste the link that you had copied. Okay. After pasting, you have to save this file. So inside document, you can see how a image is showing. 1 minute. Okay. So by default, the image is repeated. So it covers the entire element. So for that, what you can do? So background image also we can set like now we are setting on a whole page. We can set on particular element as well. But for solving this problem, what we can do? We have lots of property. We can set background repeat. For example, we don't like this. Our one image is repeated lots of times. So for that, I am adding one more property here as a background repeat. Okay. Background repeat. I don't want to repeat. So here you get an option no repeat. When you click on it and save your file, you get one image of HTML. So in this way, you can add background image. And for example, if you want to make your image horizontally and vertically, for that you can use, let me show you that as well. Here you have a one more property, that is background repeat. Where is our repeat in a horizontal way? For that you can use repeat X. Let me save this. So it will repeat it horizontally, and if you want to repeat your image in a vertically, so simply instead of X you have to use Y. So it will repeat it in a horizontal direction. It's up to you if you want to repeat your image or not. And if in case if you want to repeat your image vertically or horizontally, so you can use X or Y. So in this way you can repeat your image. Showing the background image only once is also specified, like a background repeat as a no repeat. So in this way you can set your one image at a time. Now I'm going to remove this. I just need only one image. So in the above example, the background image is placed in the same place as the text. We want to change the position now of the image so that it does not disturb the text too much. So for that, what we can do, we can use another CSS that we call CSS background position. So the CSS background position property is used to specify the position of the background image. Position the background image in the top right corner where you want. So for that, we are going to use CSS background position. Okay. Here we have a background image, we have a background repeat property as a no repeat, and then after that we are going to use background position. We learn two things: background image property, background repeat property. Inside background repeat property, we learn two things, like if we don't want to repeat our image, for that we can use no repeat. And if we want to make our image repeated on in a horizontal way, so for that we can use X repeat. And if we want to make our image in a vertical repeat position, so for that we can use Y repeat. So you have to remember these all things. Then after it, we have a CSS background position, that is third one. So here I'm going to use background position. Okay. Okay. So here, what I want, this image is in left top. Okay. This is in a left portion on a top. Now I want this image on a right top. So for that, what I'm going to do, right top. You can see the image goes on right on a top side. It's very easy to understand. Now, in this way, you can change the position of the image. Like background position, set the starting position of the background image, and background repeat set how a background image will be repeated. Now, after that, you can set it in any direction by using this. Now, after that, we have a CSS background attachment. So the background attachment property specifies whether the background image should scroll or be fixed, like will not scroll with the rest of the page. For that, we are going to use what? CSS background attachment. Now, here we have a background attachment, so it should be fixed. Let me save this. Now it's not scrolling. We have only one page. And if you fix it as a scroll, let me change this as a scroll one. Let me save this file. Now you can find the difference. We have a one single page only. Like if you have a lots of content, so you can scroll your image, but we have only one page, so no need to worry about. Like if you have a lots of content, so for there you can use this fix or scroll property, and it's working fine there. So these things we have. Let me do it fixed only for now. Okay. So specifies background attachment specifies the background image should be scrolled with the rest of the page, and if we do fix, so it will be fixed for the rest of the page. Then after that, we have some shorthand property for that. Now we will learn how can we add background image. How can, if we don't want to repeat our image, how can we use background repeat property? Then we learn about background position. How can we set the position of the image where it should be, on the left hand side, on the right hand side, on the bottom. So it will set by background position. Then we will see the background attachment, how it works. How it works. So then after that, we have a CSS background attachment property that we see. Then we have a CSS background shorthand property. Okay, these four things that we have to learn. Now I don't want to use this four thing one by one. I just want to use this four thing in a one line of code only. So for that, what I can do, that we call shorthand property. To shorten the code, it is also possible to specify all the background property in one single property. This we call shorthand property. Now you got it. Instead of writing this all thing like background image, background repeat, background position, we have to use shorthand property to set the background property in one declaration. Now what I'm going to do, let it be, I'm not going to remove this as of now. After that I will remove. Now here I'm going to write background. Okay, inside background, first thing what I have to do, first thing I have to set the color. So here I'm going to use hexa color code as FFF hexa color. It means 6 character we have. After that, after hexa color, what we have, background image property. So I am going to use the URL and going to copy the same URL and paste it here. Let me copy this. It's difficult for me to copy whole, but it's okay. Okay, fine. Okay. After background image, what we have, repeat property, isn't it? You can see we have first color we added, then we have a background image is also added in one line of code, then we have a background repeat. In repeat, what you want, no repeat. So simply you have to write background, already you have just have to write no repeat here only. No need to put any comma, anything. Simply you have to write no repeat. Okay. After no repeat, what you can do, okay, you have to put parenthesis as well. You can see above, parenthesis is there. If you did something wrong, that red highlight lining is coming. So yeah, parenthesis is there and there as well. Okay, let me increase its size for a while. The URL of the image is so big. Okay, let me remove it from here. Okay, no repeat. And after no repeat, what we have, a background position. The position should be top, right top. So you can write right top here. RIGST, right top. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now you can see in a one line only we write all those things. We don't have to write in another line as another property. As you can see, in initial, what we are doing, we are writing one code in a one line. For background color, we are making one line of code. Then we are adding background image in another line, background repeat. Now in background property, we write all those things. So from here, now I'm going to remove this all, but before that, let me open my web page. Okay, let me remove this background color, back comment it out. You can do comment it out instead of removing. Okay, now let me save this file. Now you can see it also works same. Now why the color become white? Because here we have a light blue color and here we use hexa color. So let me change the color as a light blue only so that you can find the difference. It also works same as the above one, light blue. Let me save this, right. Now you can find the difference. The both code working in the same way. The difference is only that in above code we are writing the property in a different line, but in the next code, like in a background only, we are writing all those property that we are using above in a single line of code. So it's better to use shorthand property instead of using one line of code for one thing. Now, when using the shorthand property, the order of the property value you have to remember. I will tell you the what will be the order for that property. I'm writing here so that you can understand and comment it out. Order for mhm, shorthand shorthand property order. What will be the order? Okay, so the first thing you have to write always background color. When you are using the shorthand property, the first thing will come background color. Then after background color, we have second thing as a background image. We copy it from here only. After background color, what we have? Background image. After background image, we have a background repeat. And after background repeat, we can use background attachment and background position. Okay, here first we have to write background attachment, then we have to write background position, not like this. First the attachment come. If something is missing, then it fine, the order will go same like that. Background attachment, then we have a background position. Okay, let me comment it out. It is not visible in a compiler. So how we can use the shorthand property? For writing the shorthand property, the order will be like this. First you have to write the background color, background image, background repeat, background attachment, background position. Okay. If it does not matter if one of the property value is missing as long as the other ones are in this order. Okay, we do not use the background attachment property in the examples above, like with after position, as it does not have a value. That's why, because we have only little content in our web page. After that, we are going to learn about CSS border style. Okay, we will learn about background. How can we set the background color, image, and everything. Now we are going to learn about CSS border style. Okay, the next topic is what? CSS border style. So the border style property specifies what kind of border to display. Now you have the boxes here, you can see. So we have following, like you can see the solid lines are there, little rounded border we have. Okay, so now we have a different types of border. Like some borders are solid like this. There are some dotted border like this, and then we have some dash border like this. Space is there. Okay, 1 minute. Let me show you. Like this. So here we are going to learn about CSS border styles. So the border style property specifies like what kind of border to display. We have a dotted border, we have a dash border, solid border, double border, and many other kind of border we have. So we will, if you don't want to add any border, so for that you can use none property. Okay, so different kind of border we have. So the border style property can have from 1 to 4 values. For the top border, right border, bottom border, as you can see, we have a 4 values. Top border, then we have a right border, bottom border, and then we have a left border. This is a left. It's starting from top, then right in a clockwise direction. First we set the top border, then right, then bottom, and at last left. Now we have this border. Okay, wait a minute. We have a div tag. Inside div, we have a hex color. Okay. Now here we have a color box for all the boxes. Okay. Then we have a hex color. Okay. Inside hex color is the unique ID for every boxes that we have. ID basically we use for unique things. So here I'm going to use hex color ID for my hex color box. And inside this, after color, I'm going to use some border style as well. Okay. So here I'm going to give border style. We have a lots of solid border, but first we use dotted so that you can understand. Now you can see the second and third box are in a solid way, like solid border line we have, but the first box we have in a dotted border we have. Why? Because we apply border style as a dotted. You can set border width as well. For example, here I want to give some border width so that it looks good. We have lots of property, and here I'm going to give 5 pixel. So you can see it, the width of the border become little more wide. So in this way you can add width, and you can give style to any border. Here we give dotted. Now I want border style as a solid. So in the next RGB box I'm going to add border style. Border style solid. Okay. Okay. No, it's already solid so that you are not able to find the difference. And if I give after border style solid, I want to give border width. So here you can use instead of if you don't want to use the width in a unit. 1 minute, where is width? Okay, let me write border width as medium. Okay, you can use medium instead of you using unit. You can use that also. Let me save. So you can see the difference. It become little bold as comparison to third one. So in this way, you can add border style and border width. Now we see how the solid look, how the dotted look, and then we have a another one thick, border thick. Okay. Now here I'm going to just add border style dotted. And after that I just want to give border width as a thick border width. Hmm. So in this way you can add style. You can less the unit like 3 pixel. It's fine. Okay. Now you can understand how it's work. You can use border width in a unit, in a medium thick as well. So it's up to you. I'm teaching you these all things so that it's easy for you while making any web page. Whenever you are while like you learn index.html, like how to create the structure, you know about that. How to use different tags, you know about that. But your web page is looking not attractive until and unless you don't add CSS to it. So while adding CSS, you have to know about these all properties so that you can make your web page attractive. So this is the reason, that's why I'm teaching these all basic things to you. Now after that, when we learn how to apply CSS border style to any of our element, after that we are going to learn about CSS border color. So the border color property is used to set the color of the 4 borders. We know that if we have any box, we have a 4 side: top, right, bottom and left. So the color can be set by a name. You can give the color name as red, blue, green. Then in yesterday class, I taught you about this. Name color we have. Even I put the name like this so that you can remember. We have a named color. Inside name color, we are giving the naming red, green, blue. And inside RGB color, we are using RGB code. Like we have a 0 to 255. And in hex color we are going to use 6-digit code for putting a color. It's also our primary color is a red, green, blue. So with RGB we can play and mix any color, like whatever the color we want. So you can add color like this. For example, if you want to give color to that border, okay, one by one we are going to give in these three boxes only. So we can play with that and learn CSS as well. So here I'm going to use border color. Border color should be, for blue boxes we are going to add red color border. Okay, fine. Now you can see we have a red color border. Now for this, for red color boxes, black one is fine. Okay, we can add which we can add, okay, white color. Border color white. Okay, it's not border color, it's background color. That's why all become blank. Okay, let me remove this. Border color. Border color white. That's fine. Okay. Then here also we are going to give some color. Border color for orange. We can give, okay, just give that now. We don't have that much time. Okay. So in this way, we can add border color. Like CSS border also, we have a sort and property for CSS border as well. We don't have to write border style, then border width, border color. It's become we have to write one line code every time for style, for width, for color. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to use sort and property. Like you saw in the previous page, there are many properties to consider when dealing with borders. To sort in the code, it is also possible to specify all the individual border properties in one property. Okay. So the property is a sort and property for the following individual border property. You don't have to write all those in one line, one single line. Then after that, you have to move for border width, border color. You can write it in one line only. So for that, what you can do, for example, you can use border. You can see above. Let me show you that as well so that you can understand. Here for background, we have a lots of property and we are using single line of code. First, we are writing color. Then inside one line of code, we are using URL for image. Then we have a repeat. We are using here only one line of code only. Then we are using attachment. If we have attachment property, then we use. If we don't have, then we jump to the position property. It's fine to jump on that if you don't have attachment property. So in the same way, when we learned about background, how can we write one line code for background? So in the same way, we have to write for border as well. We don't have to write multiple line of code. We have to write a single line of code that we call sort in property. So what I'm going to do is that we have a hex color box, and here we can see we have a three property as a border style, border width, border color. So border is a common in three. So I'm taking out this border, and after taking it out, one thing you have to always remember, the sequence, like what comes first, that you have to remember. Now background, not background, sorry, border. Okay, now what border I want, inside that first you have to write the width, 3 pixel. After which you have to write the border style, what style you want, dotted. So here you have to write dotted. After style, what you have to write? You have to write the color, the last one. Now let me save this file and remove the above one. Okay. Let's see it's working fine or not in a single line of code. Let me comment it out. Okay, it's working fine. Now let me remove this. What is the need of that? Now let me save this file. You can practice in the same way. First, you have to write a one single line of code for all those property: borders, border width, border style, border color. When you learn these three property while writing one single line of code, then you have to write. Then you have to use the shorthand property. So it become easy for you to grab all those things at a time. So this is a CSS border property. Hope you may understand. Now, the next topic we have a CSS margin. Okay, this is the most important topic. After learning background and border, we know how it works. How can we add background image? How can we add background color? How can we fix some our background image? These all things we know. Now, after that, we have a CSS margin property. It's something very important. The CSS margin property are used to create a space around element. For example, if you have written hex color inside it, and if you need some space inside that, so for that you are going to use margin outside of any border. With CSS, you have full control over the margin. There are properties for setting the margin for each side of an element. For example, from top, you want some space. From right also, from top, if you want some space, you want this content should become little below. So for that, you can add margin top. Then you have a margin right, margin bottom, and margin left. In this way, you can give margin to your particular element. CSS has a property for specifying the margin for each side of an element. Like I said, margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left. All the margin property can have the following values. Like we have a auto, the browser calculate the margin. Then we have a length. Like here in our code we are using pixel. So in margin also we are going to use pixel only. We have lots of unit like pt, cm. So you don't percent we have. So no need to worry about that. We are using pixel and we have percent as well. Percent specifies a margin in percent of the width of the containing element. Okay. And one thing, always remember, negative values are allowed. Like set different margin for all four sides of element. For example, let me show you. Okay. Here we have a hex color. Okay. Now I'm giving margin top 20 pixel. And then I'm going to, after top, what we have bottom. Margin bottom 20 pixel. It's not working. Why? So let's check. Let me reload my page. Remove this. Okay, fine. Let me cut this and reopen it again. Okay. It's not applicable here. 1 minute, guys. It's applicable. Okay, fine. Okay. While applying 20 pixel, it's very less value so that we are not able to find the difference. While applying 120 pixel, you can see it's come below. Now, If I want to add margin bottom, 100 pixel. We will increase little more so that it comes down. We will do 150. Okay. Okay, and remove the opacity from here. Welcome to the world of color. We add opacity. So let's remove this for a while. I'm commenting it out. Okay. So in this way, we can add margin. Sorry, I taught you in a wrong way. Padding work, whatever the space I want inside my element, for that we can use padding. And if you want space around any box or around any element, for that we are using margin. Padding we are using for text, like inside text, whatever the text we have, we want some padding. For that purpose we are using padding. And if we want space around any element, for that we are using margin. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this image I want little down. Okay, we'll do later on. Now it's fine. Where we are, margin bottom 100 pixel, and from right side you want to give some margin. Yeah, margin right, give 50 pixel. Okay, then margin left 80 pixel. Okay, not 80, less than that, give 50 only. It's fine. Okay, so in this way, you can add margin property from top how much you want, from bottom, from right, and from left. And you can arrange your element properly. Now for margin also you can use sort in property to sort in the code. Like it is possible to specify all the margin property in one property. So the margin property is shorthand property for the following individual property. Like it works like in a clockwise direction. First you have to use margin top, like the how the clock works. In a top, then it moves to the right direction, then in bottom, and then in the left direction. So be remember. So whenever you are writing margin shorthand property, so for that what you have to do, you just simply have to write margin, and inside margin you have to go in the clockwise direction. First one is what, top. So you have to write 150 pixel from top. Then after that you have a right. So from right what you have, 50 pixel. Okay, fine. Then after that we have a bottom. From bottom it should be 100 pixel. After bottom what we have, a left side. From left it should be 50 pixel. Let me comment it out. Now let me save this file. Now you can see it also work in the same way. So in this way you can use the sort in property and value for that. Now let me explain you padding as well. So for that padding you can use same way. Let me give some padding here. Padding 20 pixel. Now you can see from like text, you can see the difference. Okay, let me remove this for a while so that you can find. Now you can see text is attached with the border. Now I want little space here, and the first property is applicable for what, like it is always work in a clockwise direction. First it work on a top, so I just give a padding. So if you don't write shorthand first, so let me give like this, padding top. Okay, padding top 20 pixel. Now you can see our text is, there is no space between text and border. When we apply padding, it will reflect the space inside the boxes. You can see why in RGB and name color it's not reflecting, because we are adding padding in hex color only, so that we are able to see this space. Okay, so padding top. So from padding bottom, whatever the padding you want to add from bottom, in the same way you can add for for bottom, for right, for left as well. And you can use sort and property same as margin only. First you have to write top, Then you have to write right, bottom, and left. In this way, you can use shorthand property. Basically, the CSS padding property are used to generate space around an element content inside of any defined border. With CSS, you have full control over the padding. There are properties for setting the padding for each side of an element as you shown here. We have a top, right, bottom, and left. So you can add it. You can in initial phase you have to write one line of code like padding top. In pixel you have to give the unit, then padding right, padding bottom, padding left. All the padding property can have the following values that you want to give. So one more thing, negative values are not allowed. Never use negative values. Okay, these are not allowed. When you use -20, it shows incorrect. Okay, you don't have to use this. You can see the property when I save this while putting negative value, it is not reflected on my hex color because it is incorrect. You don't have to use negative values. You have to use positive values only. So see how it works. Let me show you whole thing. And in today class, what we learn first, we learn about CSS background. How can we add background image color? And after that we learn about CSS background color property. How can we add background color, background image, background repeat? These all things we learn. After that we will see how opaque work. If we have to make a element transparent, for that we can use opacity. And how it works, we will see that we saw that. And after that we will learn about what border property. Inside border property also we have lots of things. Border style, we have a border style, border color, where it all goes. 1 minute. Border width, and we learn how to use shorthand property for border as well. And after border we will see how we can use margin. And inside margin also we have a 4 properties: margin top, margin bottom, margin right, margin left. And for margin, how can we use shorthand property? So it will work in a clockwise direction. First top, then right, bottom, and then left. Then in the same way we will learn about padding. How can we apply padding? Like for example, if we have text inside any box and if we want to give some padding to that so that it looks good, for that we can use padding property. Okay, so here I'm going to end this. You get a link. Sir is send you the link. So please fill your attendance sheet. Click on a link and fill it out. You have 5 minutes for that. now you can see, um, when we apply padding, it will reflect the space inside the boxes. You can see. Why in RGB and name color it's not reflecting? Because we are adding padding in hex color only, so that we are able to see the space. Okay, so padding top, bottom, whatever the padding you want to add from bottom. In the same way, you can add for for bottom, for right, for left as well. And you can use sort and property same as margin only. First you have to write, it's not we will have lots of things. Borders here I'm going to add the bottom for right, for left as well. And you can use sorted property